A friend called me last week and asked, does it make sense to buy this two-bedroom condo at 2,700 per square foot? 2,700 is the number he was worried about. But I told him, bro, that's a wrong number to be focusing on. The number that actually decides whether this works for him is 3,163 per square foot. And that's the minimum price that he has to sell in order to walk away with $300,000 in capital gains that he told me that he wanted. My friend had never worked out that number, and most buyers don't. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to share some thoughts on how to approach this decision. We'll take my friend's exact case, a recent launch in the RCR, over 70% sold. 2-bed, 2-bath, $1.75 million. We'll look at the potential profits, what kind of profile of buyers will actually buy this from him in 4 years, and what other options exist in today's market at the same price point. Hi, it's Wilson here, and welcome back to my channel. And before you assume that this is another property agent video that ends up with me telling you to buy something, it isn't. I'm here to share with you honest perspective on Singapore's property market and what I'm seeing in my daily conversations with buyers and sellers. Hopefully, some of it will give you value in your own property journey. If you like this kind of content, do help me to click the like button and subscribe to my channel so that I know there's someone out there who really appreciates this kind of sharing. Thank you in advance. Now, let's look at my friend's situation. He recently sold his HDB. He's married with 2 kids, but they're living with his mother for now. Since accommodation is taken care of for the next 3 to 4 years, he's looking to buy purely for investment for the next property, and with a plan to exit and cash out after a 4 years holding period. He mentioned an RCR new launch that's about 70% sold. He's eyeing a 2-bed, 2-bathroom unit at about 2,700 per square foot, which comes out to roughly $1.75 million. And he asked me, Wilson, what do you think about buying into this property at 2,700 PSF? Let's break this down objectively using data. So first, let's look at the area and the comparative supply. This project sits near the Clementi and One North cluster, so it's definitely in a region with clear growth potential under the master plan. I'll give this full credit because URA names Greater One North as a growth area set to welcome more homes and better transport connections. The growth story here is real. But then, I look at the transaction data. A 2,700 PSF entry point at this point in time places my friend at the higher end of buyer entries for this project. Over 140 buyers have actually bought in below this price point. And there's another factor to consider. Just nearby, a project launched earlier sold 186 2-bedded units at an average of 2,518 PSF, with the highest sale at $2,716. So for a pure investment play, my friend needs to consider 3 things. Number 1, the earlier buyers in his own project who entered at the lower price points will set the baseline for resale competition for him later. Number 2, for my friend to profit after 4 years, the market has to appreciate enough so much so that a future buyer can absorb his unit at 3,100 PSF or higher. Number 3, there are close to 300 2-bedded units in the same area priced below his entry price of 2,700 PSF. It may take a while for this supply to be fully absorbed. And here's the thing, those earlier buyers don't need the price he needs. Someone who came in at 2,400 PSF definitely can list below him and all day and still hit their profit target. So before we continue, if you are new here, welcome to my channel. I put out real, unfiltered views on the Singapore property market without the hype. A quick like on this video will help it reach more like-minded friends who are about to make a property move of their own. Thank you very much for your support. So point number 2, our exit price actually sets our buyer's pool. Once you set your target exit price, you are indirectly locking into a very specific group of buyers in terms of their financial ability. My friend was looking at $300,000 in capital gains, which means that his selling price in 4 years has to be $2.05 million. So, The question is, what does his future buyer actually need to pay for it? Assuming that they take the maximum 75% loan under the MAS rule, that's a mortgage of $1.5375 million. Over a 30-year tenure, at the 4% stress test rate that the bank has to use, that works out to be a monthly installment of $7,340. Under the 55% TDSR cap, that buyer will need a monthly household income of at least $13,346. Now, let's put that number into context. Since household income report, which was released earlier this year, showed that the national median monthly household income for 2025 was $12,446. So, a household at $13,300 is sitting just above the halfway mark, and this is in 4 years' time. And this is roughly the top half of the country. And this share has been growing every year, which is a fair point in my friend's favour. But income is only one thing. There's a second part to it. So on top of that loan, that buyer also needs to put together roughly $584,600 in upfront cash and CPF. That's a 25% down payment plus a $72,100 in buyer stamp duty. So based on the numbers, we do know that close to half of Singaporean household in the next 4 years could potentially qualify for the loan at that exit price. But what's much harder to estimate is how many of these households are willing to put $584,000 down for a 2-bed, 2-bath unit in the RCR region. My own personal take, and this is just strictly my opinion, is that at this price point of $2.05 million, buyers may well choose other options. And this brings me to the last point. So if you're still here with me, I really appreciate your attention. And do remember to like this video if this is interesting for you so far. So now I have a very serious question for you. Imagine yourself 4 years from now, and with the right budget that you have, will you rather pay $2.05 million for a 2-bed, 2-bath, or will you pay for a much bigger unit for a 3-bedder in the same region? Let me know down in the comments and I'll reply to you guys. So number 3, let's talk about the target buyer who might buy this 2-bed, 2-bath unit at $2.05 million in 4 years' time. My friend told me that he pictured a couple with a young kid buying it from him, or an investors who want to milk the property as an investment. Well, both sound very logical on the surface, but let's dig a layer deeper and see what we find out. First, imagine that a young couple, newly married or starting a family, they aren't just buying a home. They are trying to future-proof their own stay. In the Singapore market, where property prices keep on trending upwards, moving again in a few years' time to upgrade from a 2-bedder to a 3-bedder could be a much pricier proposition. So, at the point in time, if they have the budget, many would rather stretch a bit further and secure a bigger unit, maybe a 3-bedder upfront, to avoid outgrowing the space in the future. Next, let's talk about the investors. Pure investors are strictly number-driven. So, let's simulate the rental for a unit like this. Current 2-bedder rents in the same area are going for around $4,200 a month. Now, let's assume that grows at 5% annually, and we are looking at around $5,000 to $5,100 a month in 4 years' time. Now, let's put that against the buyer's cost. Assuming they bought from my friend at $2.05 million with a 75% loan at a realistic rate of 2% interest rate, that investor's mortgage is about $5,683 a month. So, this means that the rental at that point in time will hardly cover the mortgage, and that's not including other costs like property tax and MCST fees. At that rent level, the gross rental yield is barely 3%. An investor is likely to hesitate on that. They will look for alternative assets or lower entry price units that offer better net rental yield on their capital. This means that both of my friends assume buyers have a reason to walk away, and that's a problem. So after sharing some analysis with my friend, he asked me, Wilson, if not this new launch 2-bedder, what else can I look at? I told him to consider the resale market. As an investor, our goal is to buy into certainty, stable rental yield with identified tenant pool, while the inflation and local development drives up our long-term capital appreciation. So, I ran a quick search on Property Guru with a few strict criteria. For location, we chose rest of Central region. For the budget, below $1.75 million. I tried to look for 3-bedders for better future proofing and a wider exit pool, and for the age of the condo, 10 years and below. A very few interesting options came out, and if you want this list, drop me a DM and I can share with you the details. One standout project was a project in the Paya Lebar area, and that was interesting for me. So Paya Lebar is set for a massive long-term transformation with the relocation of the Paya Lebar Air Base. The URA master plan actually puts that relocation from 2030 onwards, turning the whole area into a new mixed-use district with residential and commercial. So buying in today will position us to capture the spillover effect as that transformation unfolds. On top of that, the immediate rental demand there is exceptionally strong, driven by a solid tenant base starting and working nearby. So when I compare a cash flow 3-bedroom resale unit with a proven tenant demand against a high PSF new launch 2-bedder that my friend was looking on and relying purely on future capital gains, the numbers can be very similar or even better. If you like a copy of this comparison, drop me a comment below and I'll send it to you. So if you're like my friend looking to buy into a post-launch property, here are 4 things that you need to consider before you make the decision. Number 1, you need to be very clear of your exit PSF. This is the number that will determine whether there will be anyone who will be willing to buy from you at the point in time. Number 2, if you are buying into a post-launch property, you need to consider how many people has actually bought before you and at what price have they bought at. This will be the people who will be competing with you in 4 years' time when they all look to exit the property. Number 3, you need to be very clear about the target audience that will be buying this property from you. You need to look into data, income levels, and the probability of these people buying such a property from you in the future. And lastly, do not just focus yourself into post-launch property and that particular project. Consider other things like other projects, other new launch projects, as well as resale properties. Sometimes they may make better sense from an investment point of view. So thank you very much for watching till the end of this video. If you like what you just saw, remember to press the like button and I will be very thankful for your support. And please remember to subscribe to the channel for more updates and more real and unfiltered insights about the Singapore property market. If you have any questions about your own property journey and would like to have another perspective, feel free to drop me a DM at the WhatsApp number below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!